Go blue, everyone. You win some, you lose some. Coming up next on Michigan Wolverines Live on a special Monday night edition. And here we go with another episode of Michigan Wolverines Live, episode 207. My name's John Diadamo, and I'm going to be taking you through the next hour or so. We're coming to you live from YouTube. We're coming to you live from X, from Twitch. And don't forget, we sound good on radio, too. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Amazon, and on iHeart, on your commute, wherever you're going. Pop in your AirPods and listen in. It's great stuff on radio as well. Go ahead and hit that like button as you join us. Subscribe and share with a friend. And finally, go ahead and hit a super chat if your comment or question you want it to be read on screen. We have people, they just post questions in the chat and they're like, hey, answer my question. Got a super chat. Hit that super chat, and then your comment or question is going to be on screen. And without further ado, we can't wait a second longer for bringing out TJ back at it, after a birthday dinner, during the absolutely insane Saturday night show. Now TJ's back to give your thoughts.
Well, I'll just say watching that, like everybody else was wild. In terms of like the delay, and then seeing who we actually chose was interesting in itself, but hey, the show you guys put on was amazing. I was watching it from a distance, and it was great to see the community really show out. I mean, that stream, John, got almost 30,000 views. Okay, so that was a banger, if you will. But wild. Calvin Russell, we'll get into it a little bit. I got some thoughts on it. Very interesting. The whole situation's interesting. We'll say that. But we'll get into that more. But it's great to be here. Great to be with the community. Looking forward to the show, man.
Hell yeah. And you add in the X views, you add in the Florida State and Oregon views. We almost got to like 70,000 across the entire Voice of College Football network, which is wild stuff. Ryan's here. Stallions is here. Kenji, one of our Connor Stallions espionage members. Thank you for being a Connor Stallions espionage member. We got Michigan Man Dan. We got, of course, the Bull, a.k.a. B-Dub, Russell Harris. Don't worry, Bull. It was just 3 hours. Wasn't that bad. We capped it at 3 because we just, we did the topic to death. I think everybody got my thoughts, and I thought, you know what? Let's wait for TJ, for the next round of this. And we already have a 10 burger from Captain. Russell did this knowing that there's more money to be had. He knows he won't end up at Syracuse. This is just to try to up the pot. And my question to this is, isn't there now with these NIL deals some kind of clawbacks? So like if he were to decide, oh, I want to go to Oregon in like a couple months or whatever, wouldn't there be some clawbacks where he doesn't get some of this $4.3 million that's reported?
Of course, yeah. So how it's supposed to work, okay, is in theory, how a lot of these kids have it is once they commit. Now, I don't know if every school does this, but I'm pretty sure like a Calvin Russell is going to get this. I know a lot of schools do this. Once a kid is committed, they start receiving some form of compensation per month. And if they, let's say they flip, let's say they don't commit, they are supposed to give that money back to the school. But the thing is, though, apparently schools don't want, it could be a bad look to demand money from a kid. So I don't, we haven't really seen that play out too much yet. It's just all still new. At some point, though, I do anticipate a school or a donor being like, give me that money back, bro. Like, this is business. Right. Like, you're not going to take this money. So I don't know. Like, and then to Captain Stabbin's point, is it possible Calvin Russell does not end up at Syracuse? Look, National Signing Day is a long ways away. A lot can happen. I don't know personally if Michigan is still interested in Calvin Russell. I do have some interesting perspective that we'll talk about with Calvin Russell in like, I'm telling you,
can't wait.
Yeah, man, it's
we're gonna make everyone wait for it a little bit because I'm very excited to hear. But Ryan, not to be outdone, Ryan H just gifted 5 Voice of College Football Those Who Stay memberships. So congratulations, Michael Jones, the one with an A, Cole, Johnny Olden Jr. Hey, Johnny Olden Jr. got a membership, and Buzz Busser. So congrats to everybody. Hit that refresh so you can get your emojis because those are fun. And I'm glad Johnny got one too because, yeah, he's putting out some real good content as well. And all right. And thank you. One more thing. Thank you to Moose. Thank you for saying that, buddy. I do appreciate that. Best in the biz.
Moose was a target this weekend.
That's a massive compliment. Still, yeah. Well, listen, you can please some of the people, some of the time. You know who said that? Steve Jobs. So there we go. All right. So first topic today. Everybody take a breath. I know Saturday night show was wild stuff, but Michigan overall, and we are going to talk about the one kind of key exception, but overall, and again, we keep it real on this show. If we think things are going well, we praise it. If we think things need to be critiqued, we critique. Michigan's doing a great job in recruiting. They are. Top 10 class, that's awesome, right? With he's still coming out of his first year as head coach with a lot of adversity that happened right after that first year. He's listen, Sharon Moore and everybody is really picking it up, and it culminated in some impressive pickups from 4-star wide receiver Travis Johnson and 4-star linebacker Dorian Barney. So I guess
corner.
That's what I meant. And so, you know, I guess the key thing is, like, first of all, overall, what do you think about the overall job that I'm
about to change it, John.
I'll fix it. I got it.
Okay. Overall job, what do I think? I think look, Michigan's doing a great job. I mean, I know we didn't land the cherry on top on Saturday, but I mean, other than that, we're looking at a top 10 class, currently ranked 7th in the nation. A lot of excellent quality players all over the field. Defensive line, offensive line, wide receiver, Travis. Like, we'll get into that too. The Travis Johnson, Zion Robinson, Jalen Pyle wide receiver room, very good. This is a very good wide receiver room. Is it elite like it could have been with the Russell edition? No, but it's very freaking good. And when you look at last year's class and you build it with this class, now we got a pretty good room. We have a pretty good room at the wide receiver position. Now the cycle's not over. There's some more targets, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that, you know, Michigan's pursuing. But overall, hats off to Michigan. Hats off to Shal McGee and the coaching staff for doing an excellent job. And I know, and we'll get into it, there's some concern about linebacker Brian Jean-Marie. We'll get into that. I have some thoughts on that. But, you know, at the end of the day, John, this is still a program in the right trajectory, and I still feel confident that Michigan is on path to win a national title within the next 3 years.
That would be really cool. And really, this, where we were a month ago compared to where we are today, it really is night and day, right? Like once that House bill, everything was resolved there. Then all of a sudden you started seeing one after another. Like, Sean McGee had a plan. Let's give him a raise. It's about damn time he gets some more money. Talking about giving people money. How about let's give Sean McGee some money? Because it's really pretty impressive what we've been seeing.
Very impressive. I mean, it's, you know, when Dusty May made the comment that Michigan NIL is in the ballpark of the Yankees and the Dodgers, you know, if anyone pays attention to baseball, those are 2 of the top 3 highest spending teams in MLB baseball, and they just blow money. Okay, now Michigan doesn't blow money, but the point is Michigan has the financial capacity to be at the top of the pyramid, and that's where we are. We're seeing it. And then regarding the Calvin Russell thing, I guess I'll just hit on this also. guess what? That money is still available. That money is now going to go elsewhere if it does not go to Calvin at the end of the day. Okay. So Michigan is in a great position to up the offers to potentially a Devon Benjamin. If Savion Hyder if it's necessary for a Hyder, whatever, so at the end of the day, we're okay. Like we are, it would have been absolutely epic if we landed Russell. I mean, I would have been just through the roof just because how much that addition would mean to the offense. But overall, yeah, shout out Towns Health Service. But overall, man, Michigan is doing exactly what they need to do right now. It's only July. We have a long way to go until December. And here's the other positive. If Michigan is willing to put that much money into its wide receiver position, okay, especially a key player like that, a true wide receiver one, which is really what we're missing. We are missing. And now, is it possible Travis Johnson, Andrew Marsh, Zion Robinson, they become that dude? It is. It's very possible. But the fact that Michigan is willing to go get one, just the action in itself, even though we didn't get the result we wanted, the action in itself shows you that Michigan is not effing around, and they're going to figure that out. At some point, we're going to get that guy, whether it's through development or it's by getting that talent to Ann Arbor. So I'm just very happy with the program. I feel as a fan, I feel very good about everything they're doing. And I understand the concern about the linebacker position. And so, I'll just hit on that too. My thoughts are this on that. I have a feeling that there's not the same resources for that position that there has been for the defensive line, the wide receiver room, or the DBs. Okay. I just feel Michigan is potentially, I mentioned this before that I have felt that Michigan is prioritizing certain position groups per cycle. Last year it was DB and offensive line. This year it is wide receiver and defensive line. I just feel like linebacker room, it's not their time yet. Plus, I do feel Michigan feels that the linebacker position is a very easy position to fill in the transfer portal. Because if you look at our linebackers this year, Jay Sean Barham, Ernest Hausman, where do we get them, John?
Transfer portal.
And they're about to play at an all Big Ten caliber level. So I just feel Michigan thinks that position, the resources can be used elsewhere. But I also want to put out word of caution that it's potentially possible Michigan takes a swing at somebody like they did for Nathan Owasu-Boateng. That came later in the cycle. This could as well. So, I think we'll just have to observe that one. But it is interesting to see all the other positions doing so well. The linebacker position does appear to be lacking, but I just feel that Michigan is aware of that. I feel it will be addressed.
Absolutely. Quick reminder to hit that like button, subscribe, tell a friend. I have kind of one question on each of these commitments. And by the way, everyone should, if you haven't yet, check out TJ's videos on both Travis Johnson and also Dorian Barney. But I kind of have a question on each of them. So like for Travis Johnson, like, looking at his huddle tape, and we played it Saturday night, kind of looking at, hey, everybody, like, we still got a pretty legit wide receiver a couple days ago. Like, it's going to be all right. And looking at that film, and I literally was just looking at Calvin Russell film for like an hour. So then I look at Travis Johnson film, and I'm thinking to myself, like, Travis Johnson's legit. Like, he could be that, you say, hey, we might need another X. But I feel like Travis Johnson in like, not in 26, maybe even in 27, maybe that's a 27, 28 situation. He becomes that, but like, I could see the potential of him. And I think it was like, credit to Ron Bellamy. I will say credit to Ron Bellamy on this. That was a significant pickup. I'd put it on, maybe Andrew Marsh might still be above for me, in terms of his recruiting total. I just love Andrew Marsh and what he brings to the table. But Travis Johnson, what do you think he like as like a one of the top wide receivers, not even the top ranked wide receiver we have too. Zion Robinson's higher ranked, but I feel like there's something about Travis Johnson that makes him underranked. Like he has those components.
I think Travis Johnson, Andrew Marsh, and Zion Robinson are in the same bucket, and that is very good. Now it's possible they can become elite. It's possible they can develop into that, right? But I think all three of them are very, very good. I think they're all very good. These are a caliber of receiver we've not had in a while. They're just they're an upgrade over what we have had. So I mean, it's exciting to see the investment in the quarterback position and the wide receiver position. We already know we invest in the running back position. We could potentially land the number one running back in the nation. So, yeah, I mean, I think Michigan's just in a great trajectory. I mean, just all around. I mean, I think like I've said, that's why I feel so strong about my claim of the next 3 years, we're going to get a natty at some point. What's the position group that doesn't have talent? Because there's a program below us in Ohio, and when I mean below us, I mean by geologically, or
that team
Ohio
down
State.
south, Ohio, yeah.
Like defensive line is a concern for them right now.
Right.
We don't have that problem. The argument could be, oh well, wide receiver. Well, they're fixing that. Wide receiver is going to not be a problem next cycle. Just so everyone knows, Dakota Garant, one of the best wide receivers in the nation, out of the state of Michigan. Is Michigan's going to push extremely hard for that one. So I just from early vibes of that recruitment, I feel good. So I don't think receiver is going to, and that is your Calvin Russell, by the way, Dakota Garant. That's why it would have been nuts if we got Calvin Russell and then Dakota Garant the next year. But whatever. Point is, I mean, Michigan is it's cooking, man. I mean, I don't have a concern position group wise, other than I know, and I'm sure I share this with linebacker, but I just feel Michigan will have an answer for that. It's just not in July.
Right. And credit to the recruiting staff for adjusting, because obviously I think we've known for quite some time that there is a large possibility that Brody Jennings was going to flip to Miami. Obviously, with some of the family stuff going on for him, it just made sense to stay close to home. Yeah. I have absolutely no, I think that makes sense, and I get it. Do they kind of have this in mind of like, hey, this is a likely flip, and here, let's go hard, put the resources to really secure Dorian Barney, so that it helped that side.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, look, if we look at what Michigan has done with the adding of Dorian, Barney, and Andre Clark, they pushed for Webb, but it didn't. He went to Texas Tech. They're currently pursuing the number one cornerback in the nation, Devon Benjamin. Okay, so I think that they were aware that the Brody Jennings thing was trending a certain direction, but obviously with the passing of one of his family members, he's now going to be closer to home, which if you saw Lamar Morgan's tweet, I think he said something along the lines of like, it's all good. You're still family. We understand. He went closer to home.
Yeah. Like family first or something like that.
Yeah. Something like that. So, I mean, look, Michigan has added 2 playmakers on the back end, and Andre Clark and Dorian Barney. I mean, Dorian Barney is extremely well polished for a kid in high school. Like his fundamentals and awareness and Andre Clark is just more of a ball hawking DB, who just needs a little bit more development, but he's got a lot of potential. You get Devon Benjamin, which we'll talk about more on, like, who can we expect,
right?
Or who should we be looking at now after this big run of commits? I mean, it's another big time player. It's another. So we'll see what Michigan can do there. There's apparently going to be a commitment from him in the next, if not July, August. I have heard that there may be a movement, like they may be moving up his commitment announcement because things are getting kind of heated in terms of negotiations and things of that nature. So we'll see. I mean, to be determined on that, right? But end of the day, I think Michigan is well positioned to handle the Brody Jennings loss, especially after last year's cycle, which was elite.
For sure. Completely agree there. I do now have on the ticker below, you can see everybody who's a current Connor Stallions espionage member here at Michigan at the Voice of College Football, $9.99 a month. And some of these have literally just come in the last day or two, the ones that are first. So thank you guys so much for joining in at that tier. It means a lot. And I will be putting out a post soon for another round of suggestion box for Connor Stallions people. So if you have a suggestion, if you have like kind of an idea of a theme or a topic or anything that you'd like to see, that'll be an opportunity for you to submit that.
Yeah, I believe we have just over 30 Connor Stallion espionage team members, which is epic. So shout out. But let's not forget our other members. We appreciate you guys as well. Every
Correct.
single one of you, whether it's leaders and best or those who stay, really appreciate it. The community is very, very strong right now. And we appreciate that.
For sure. And I don't want to, I did want to touch on that for a sec, but let's go ahead and thank Towns Health Services for a $200 super chat. Wow. Thank you for that support. It means everything. Seriously.
I think that is the new highest mark. We did get the one that was 500 one time, but
oh yeah,
that one didn't stick. That one didn't stick. But the $200 one, we appreciate Towns Health Services. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show here.
Absolutely.
And stick around. Salty Rock with the $4.99 watched a video from this time last year. From then to signing day, the 2025 class changed drastically. Should we be expecting a similar level of changes?
Yeah. So, yes, there is a belief that Michigan could be taking some swings in October, November, and December on some committed guys or players who are not yet committed. I think what Michigan's going to do, because like we're at 20 kids now, so there's really only room for about 4 to 7 more kids, roughly. So, and we'll get into like what players we should be looking at here, but a few of them are going to be announcing within the next 2 months, in July and August. I feel Michigan is going to definitely swing for the fences for some kids. And it could be a linebacker. It could be another wide receiver one. It could be, it won't be offensive line by all accounts. They're done there. They're just looking for a senior riser. But yeah, maybe in the back end, I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, I think Michigan's now in a position where they have leverage. And what I mean by they've always had leverage, but I mean, the class is shrinking. There's only so many spots left. So they can use that as, hey, do you want to get in the class? Here's the NIL. We know they have the NIL resources. They could potentially get a kid to join the class. For example, Julian Walker committed far earlier than he was anticipating to commit. He was anticipating to commit right before the season. Michigan got him to commit sooner. I think you could see that. I think you could see that in October and November. Some kids who might want to wait till National Signing Day. I expect Michigan to add some more kids, to answer your question.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, we'll touch on some of the ones that are on our radar for the next month or so for sure, but more to come. Absolutely. And then we also do have Ryan H with the 20 and the question, and we've covered this player before, but how is Michigan sitting now with Donald Tabron, Cass Tech quarterback?
Yeah. So, I mean, as good as you possibly can at this stage for a 2028. His mentor is Bryce Underwood. Okay. He's also in the sound mind, sound body circuit, which is like, Michigan has a lot of, hands in that as well. He does appear to be the next one, like the next big thing. Right. So we'll see how the 2027 recruiting class goes. So the next cycle's 2027. Does Michigan take a swing at an elite QB, or do they wait and take that swing for their 2028, which is Donald Tabron? He's a big time player, man. But by all accounts, right now, Michigan's in a great spot because he's been here a lot. He's already building a relationship with Sharon Moore, Chip Lindsey. Bryce Underwood is literally his mentor. Bryce Underwood's an excellent recruiter. And then for those who are not familiar with Donald Tabron, He's like the next big thing to come out of the state of Michigan. And it's not just because he's out of the state of Michigan that Michigan wants him. There's an anticipation this kid's going to be on a 5-star level. So he's a big time player. We'll see where it goes. Obviously, we'll be monitoring it as it goes.
And is there I feel like in 27 to avoid not to I shudder to even mention this guy's name, but like a Matt Weiss situation of like, whiffing on Dante Moore, whiffing on CJ Carr, and going all in on one, maybe what they do in 27 is they take a lower 4-star, a 3-star, just to build up that quarterback class. And if you see that happening, I feel like you can pretty much make a judgment that Donald Tabron is going to be similar to Bryce, where very high on the board for 28.
Yeah. So, all right. So Dante Moore, they had a terrible approach with that. Okay. All in on one kid who was giving you all the signs he wasn't coming here. Carr, they didn't want Carr. He didn't fit their vision of what they wanted at QB, so it wasn't like we lost that one.
Yeah.
The 27 QB, which is why the Ryder Lions one was so interesting, because he was really a 27. And that's why, the Trey Taylor situation, anyone who's watched our show, we're all very aware of what happened with Trey Taylor, who's now committed to Nebraska. It appears, I feel like Michigan is okay with not taking a top dog for 27, but we'll find out. But I guarantee there will be a QB in that class. They're always going to grab a QB. It's just at what level. Because, you got Brady Smeagol now, who is an underrated quarterback, in my opinion. And with Tabron at the 28 cycle, I just think you have room to not have a huge need, and you have room to not spend a lot of NIL resources at that position for the 27 class. That's how I look at it. Like, don't burn a lot of resource on that 27 QB spot. Save it for Donald Tabron. You got Smeagol, you got Underwood.
Yeah.
Put those resources at other positions.
Yeah, that makes sense. The bull here, I want bullware. I like big motherfudgers. No pause. We don't pause here. We never pause.
Yeah, never pause. Pause button's broken here. No, just kidding. Yeah, well, he's in the we'll talk about it, bull. We'll talk about it. I promise. He's in the who do we need to look at now topic, which we'll get to in a minute.
For sure. Don't forget that if you own a business, a product, a service, a personal brand, you can sponsor the Voice of College Football, any of our channels, by going to sponsorships at vocfb.com. The season is fast approaching, so now is the time. If you want your sponsorship to be live for the season, email us now, sponsorships at vocfb, or DM us, either of us, and we'll lay it out how you can benefit, whether you have a business, a product, a service, or yes, folks, if you have a personal brand that you want to build, that's something that we can do as well. So consider that and appreciate that. Of course, you've got the new Voice of College Football website. And what I love about the Voice of College Football website, I love a lot of things, but the thing I love the most is that everything is now finally in one place. You can see what shows are happening today. You can see some of the key topics, some of the key interviews. Earlier, the Mikhail Blade interview that we did the other day has been posted on the site, which is very, very cool. The Malachi Lee discussion also posted. So it's now kind of like this central hub where you can really look at everything that's going on in Voice of College Football and learning about not just Michigan, but other teams and kind of what's going on across the board.
Yeah, and we just hired a new team of writers, so there'll be even more articles on there. Looking forward to it. Website is still a work in progress. Just like the show was. We're not what's what I'm looking for.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, well, we're not complacent. It's got a lot of work. We got to keep working on it, but we'll get there. But yeah, man, we're excited about it. It has a lot of potential, and we're going to keep working at it. But if you guys want to check it out, vocfb.com, we'd really appreciate it.
Okay. I think that everybody has waited long enough, and now we get to hear from TJ kind of his thoughts. You kind of heard mine multiple times over the 3 hours. Calvin Russell in a surprise move, but not completely surprising, because I said going into that show, I said it on Thursday, I said it on Saturday, like Syracuse is surging. I gave the reasons why, and that this could go either way. And it did go Syracuse's way. After waiting an hour for the official announcement, we did get the word, it's Syracuse. So, TJ, you've had a couple days to sit with us now. What do you think were some of the reasons why Calvin Russell made that decision to go with Fran Brown and Syracuse?
Well, listen, he has a great relationship with Fran Brown. He has a friend who's already on Syracuse. Syracuse did come at him at both NIL with basketball and football, okay, where Michigan was just coming from, my understanding, football portion with NIL, but he was able to still play basketball at Michigan. But the reality, the reason why this is so interesting, the class and Michigan thought they were getting him. And what I mean by the class, I mean the kids who are currently in the 26 class, okay? I was told Thursday the staff is confident from the same individual who gave me the update on the 25th of June, where I was told he told Bryce he was coming. Now, I've also had that confirmed. And I also know the Tom Loy tweet got out there, the message from Tom Loy about, and I'll read it because it was public. It was behind a paywall, but it made the rounds on social media. And for those who don't know, it said essentially, all I'm going to say is I won't go into too much detail out of respect to sources, but the end result is shocking to everyone involved. Myself, other colleagues, we had very good reason to believe Michigan was going to be the landing spot. And that's because he was a silent, boys and girls, until it wasn't. Spoke to some people tonight around U of M program, and they are floored. They're still unsure as to what happened and how this didn't work out. Again, everyone I've talked to, they generally were under the impression this was a done deal for Michigan until there was a delay in his announcement time. What a wild night. I'm curious to see if Michigan completely moves on or keeps recruiting him. I'm sure they'll hash it out. Now, I will say, because I'm sure there's somebody who's watching saying, well, Sam Webb cleared that up and said there was a mix of intel or sources, and he didn't quite have. Well, I'm going to tell you from my position, I was told the same fucking thing. Okay, so if Tom Loy got that, and then the guy who told me everything that I was getting since the 25th of June. Now, listen, Sam. And this isn't me challenging Sam. This isn't any of that shit. I'm just letting you know, like from my end and what I heard personally, that's exactly how it went down. Is the staff felt confident it was going down. The class, and look, we had Mikhail Blade on, and if you saw how he was when we asked him about the Calvin Russell thing, there's a reason, and the reason is the class felt they were getting him. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. So what I think might have happened is, he just. There was that delay. Maybe Syracuse came last minute. I don't effing know. I really don't know. But at the end of the day, Michigan felt a certain way and he went a different direction, but that's recruiting. It happens. Like we've seen that a lot. If anyone remembers the Joshua Christopher recruitment, the 5-star basketball player who went to Arizona State. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. It's wild though.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, we've broken this down, obviously, but in case people missed the big show Saturday night, you mentioned at the very beginning, Fran Brown relationship. I mean, he did a fantastic job, credit where credit's due, in continuing the relationship. But I think a big piece, everybody's talking about the NIL, right? Everyone's talking about the 4.3 million. That's what everybody's focused on. But I think just as important is Syracuse isn't very good. So here's the thing. He will probably get to play game 1, snap 1, in football, game 1 in basketball. He could have a starting role at Syracuse in both positions, where even Bryce Underwood, who Michigan paid more than $10 million to get him, Bryce Underwood was technically in a quarterback competition and technically still is. When Mikey Keene was before his injury, like, that was a battle. Like, Bryce wasn't just handed the job, and Bryce is by all accounts, the best quarterback prospect since Trevor Lawrence. So for if he had to compete, then so did Calvin Russell. And I'm wondering if Syracuse may have promised him starting time early in both sports, and that might have been just as interesting to him and his family as the NIL situation.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this: like, there was a report that came out. It was a fake account, by the way, that said Michigan wasn't willing to match NIL. That's not true. Michigan was willing to match and play ball NIL. So, it's one of those things where, look, I feel like he would have started at Michigan as a freshman. I do. Now, I'm sure Michigan might have said, "Hey, you're going to come in and compete and all that," which is what they typically tell the kids. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I know there's more to it than, like, I know or anyone else knows. And, I will say this. I think Sam's playing a little cover here on that recruitment, because I'm not so sure I fully buy what he shared with his community. Because I've heard otherwise. That's why I feel that way. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I'll just say what Tom Loy put out is exactly what the hell I got from the same individual who was feeding me the whole way through that. So I don't know. It's interesting, man. I mean, there's definitely more to it. And then to B-Dub's point, like, the whole club scene and all, like, not that there's anything wrong with that. Hey, live your life, do your thing, man. But, like, potential red flag, you know what I mean? Like, potential, like, a player who makes it always about them over everything, it is what it is. Listen, I'm also not going to judge a kid's character. Kid might be freaking fantastic and a Boy Scout. I don't know, but end of the day, it is what it is. And Michigan took an L here. We took an L. We lost. So, and then I take an L too. I also saw, I had someone screenshot me. Someone posted on one of the message boards. This is so fucked up. He goes, I'm actually glad we lost Calvin Russell because it means TJ Ronin was wrong. You fucking what? You're happy we lost Calvin Russell because it says I'm wrong? Like, what the fuck, dude?
Wow, that's messed up. Whatever.
It's funny. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, it is whatever. But I mean, like, how the hell, I mean, your team, us losing out on a major recruit, me being wrong is, just, whatever. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I was wrong because I did think we were getting Michigan, but I mean, I had very good reason.
Yeah.
I had 3 people on this one, man. And I had a 247 guy as well. So, I mean, like, I don't know. Yes, it didn't end up how I anticipated or said it would, but it is what it is, man. We're not going to bat 1,000 here.
Yeah. To people, I'm sure we got some people watching and some of the brands out there. We don't just read boards. We do talk to people like inside the program, people on the periphery, and there was a lot of smoke that he was a silent commit up until very to the very end, when Syracuse made that last push. So
he was throwing with Underwood. Like, they were throwing, like, there was things like I heard something too this week that might have happened, but I'm not sure. I'd rather confirm it before I say it publicly, but
yeah,
because I just don't know. But there was confidence he was going to end up in Michigan. I'll just say that. Like, the Syracuse thing. Now, I will give Sam, like, and just, Sam's more right than fucking wrong. Okay. Like, this isn't me at all challenging Sam Webb. I'm not. Like, I'm just saying I don't necessarily agree with what he posted. That's all. And, but Sam was 100% on the money about Syracuse. Like, they were a legit threat. He was right. He was 100% on that pulse, man. So it is what it is at the end of the day. I also say this too. The other thing about, like, oh, you just get shit from message boards or whatever. First of all, I don't have time to read message boards all fucking day. I just don't. I'm so damn busy. And then secondly, listen, like I've mentioned before, there are a lot of text groups and DM groups that are, this info is flooded. Okay. So, I mean, there's plenty of ways to get info. Okay. It's not just, all respect to the 247s and the on threes and the rivals, all respect to those, because there's obviously great info there and all that. But, like we do, like, listen, man, we do talk to there are some players we can reach out to, and there are some parents of players and things of the, there are like, we get info from sometime. And then not only that, there's people who know people in the program. And believe it or not, people want to talk because shit's exciting. Like the Calvin Russell thing. I had more people reaching out to me about that with info than I had and any other player we've ever talked about. Like, but they want, like, people just want to talk about it because it's exciting. It's like, when you know something very exciting and you just can't keep it to yourself. Like there's people, like, people just want to fucking talk, dude. People who are in the know, like, it's just interesting, But I mean, then obviously people will say, hey, don't share this, don't say, and that happens all the time too. Like I mentioned before, John, like when the transfer portal was going down in December, we knew of some players who were going to enter that. We were not allowed to speak on it at all. So we never did. Like Cole Cabana, for example, I knew that was going down, but we weren't allowed to mention it, just shit like that.
For sure. Anywho, so that happened, but again, take a breath. Michigan has a great class. The Bull, you mentioned it earlier, but I'll just read the whole thing here. If the full club scene and delay was any hint, was chaotic. I had the Instagram live on screen so that we could follow along, and there's no audio. So I was trying to search a few different ways that I checked, on what's going on.
I was trying to keep you updated.
You did. You did. I was reading yours. I was reading some other stuff.
I didn't know if he was gonna, like, there was a point where I was like, shit, is he even going to commit? Is he about to have this big event and it's like not even announced tonight? Because it kind of felt like that for a good 2-3 minutes,
Wild stuff.
But whatever. It is, at the end of the day, it is what it is. We'll see. We'll see if Michigan maintains contact. I have no idea what the next step is regarding that. Maybe Michigan's out. Maybe something happened that we're unaware of, that made him just go to Syracuse. I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see if there's an update on that. If we find out in a week or two, or maybe in October. Here, I'll give you one, John. You want to know why I would say never? Say never. Does anyone remember Nate Marshall?
Nate Marshall, I was good. Yeah.
Okay, Nate Marshall went to Auburn like out of nowhere. Okay, but then he called Michigan in November and said, "You know what? I'd like to get back in the class," and they worked it out. And by all accounts, bridges were burnt. And I said, one thing that Michigan stands on is whenever bridges are burnt, they're done. They're done. Well, Nate Marshall, now I am, they're not, it's potentially possible to rebuild a bridge, so we'll just have to see, I don't know. We'll find out if there is any potential for the Calvin Russell thing down the road.
Drufus with $1.99. November 30th, 2019 was 2,045 days ago. I'm assuming he means like that was the last time Ohio State beat Michigan.
Gee, I feel like I was a child.
Yeah, it really was a long time.
I feel like I was in kindergarten when that happened, man. It felt so long ago. I don't even know what it's like to lose to Ohio State anymore.
Oh.
I'm so used to winning.
Yeah, so much winning.
Yes, all we do is win, baby. So I don't even know. I don't even know what it's like to lose those losers.
The Bull with $1.99. Move the dump truck of money to Hyder's house.
Well, Michigan has an abundance of resources all of a sudden, so we'll see. I mean, Penn State Sports Talk goes, relax on us.
Yeah,
Penn State Sports Talk, you're always welcome here, man. Just keep it respectful, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so in terms of recruit, that brings up our topic, and some of the people that you have your eye on next, because it's not over. There are still some serious players on the board left to go in July and August. So kind of who are you looking at as like the next players to watch here?
So, I mean, look, we're at 20, like we mentioned, we're at 20 commits. There's about room for 4 to 7 more. The big one, the big dog right now is Savion Hyder out of Virginia. He's going to be making a decision either by the end of July or August. But what's interesting is he put out a tweet recently that a commitment date is soon. Well, we haven't gotten it yet, so can't be that soon. But regardless, at some point, he will be announcing a commitment. This is the number 1 running back in the nation, big time player. This has been Michigan's number 1 player on their prospect board for a while. it is a Tennessee-Michigan battle. There is NIL involved, obviously. But this is also a recruitment where Savion Hyder, he's not public like a lot of other kids. He's very low key.
Look
and
at
he wants
that
to keep it
speed.
that way.
Jesus.
I mean, even his advisor doesn't even want to be known as an agent because he's like, look, I have personally spoken with his advisor on X publicly. Anyone can see that. Point is, he just wants to be known as an advisor. He's not his agent. That's the situation, So, yeah, Michigan looks to be in a great spot. I don't think Michigan's going to get outdone here, and I feel, and I don't know Savion Hyder like, I don't know the kid's favorite color, but it does appear just by what we do know, Michigan is his best fit, culture-wise, play style-wise. It just seems like a good match. And I do think Michigan's going to land Savion Hyder, but we are now in wait and see mode on when that commitment date is going to be.
Yeah, Savion is obviously, you made a point, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago on the show, that Michigan has had a history recently of when someone's number one on the big board, they get them. And so I'm sure that there was already a big pile of money earmarked and like a plan for him. But now I don't know how many. I know that sometimes with NIL deals, it is earmarked for that particular player, and sometimes there's flexibility and funds can move around. Would you say that, it was all tied up for Calvin, or do you think that there is some flexibility there of, hey, we can now sweeten Savion Hyder's package to say to Tennessee, no, he's our number one guy. We're getting him.
So listen, there is speculation on my end because I don't have the answer to this, but like, here's what I do know. By all accounts, Michigan's not going to be out NIL'd here. They're just not. Like, that's the word. So, and we knew that. We heard that in like March. That whatever it's one of those whatever it takes situations. So, we heard that with Ty Haywood. We heard that with Andrew Babaloa. We heard that with Underwood. So this is one of those. I felt the Calvin Russell one was one of those as well, but at the end of the day, the clock ran out of time. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think Michigan's going to do what it needs to do. This is their prize. Listen, I feel bad saying that because all these other kids are so great, but
yeah, this
is their number one target, man. I just do not see Michigan letting him go. And I don't see him like, that's another thing too, is like, again, I am assuming here, but it just does not feel like he is going to go to Tennessee to chase a bag, bro. He just doesn't appear. It doesn't feel like he's that type of kid. So
it sounds like he's valuing education. It sounds like he's valuing the development that he's going to get. Yeah. And so, I actually kind of was like, because there have been some Buckeyes that have been hitting me up like, hey, what about Ohio State? They're still in this too. Tennessee just feels like a weird one for me because, like, at least at Ohio State, and it's hard for me to say nice things about Ohio State, but like, there is some legit NFL development going on there, right? Especially in certain position groups. They've had some running backs go to the NFL and do very well. And so it's like, obviously Zeke Elliott, right? The big one. But like, yeah, Tennessee just seems strange to me, but so the Buckeyes you think are completely out of it at this point.
Yes. It's
nice.
Tennessee, Michigan.
Nice.
Yep. Buckeyes. It's interesting. The Buckeyes it's an interesting situation because their fan base is like trying to, it's so funny just like observing, them all freaking out over recruiting when they have a top 5 class. They're like, oh, do we know the NIL resources? And oh, we gotta like they think there's so many of that. I know not all because some Buckeyes at least have a brain cell. But there's so many in that fan base who thinks kids are going to Ohio State and they're not being paid, which is wild. It's like, no, you guys listen, does anyone not know about your NIL budget last year that won you a natty?
Yeah.
Was it 22.5 million?
Something like that.
You in Texas or whatever had like the highest NIL budgets last year. So, look, I think the reality is, and I don't think Buckeyes fully comprehend this, but much like Michigan, resources are allocated for certain position groups. And then there's other position groups that just do not have the resources that the other position groups are getting, which I think Ohio State is going through with the defensive line. They put so much resources into the wide receiver position. Other position groups suffer. You can't buy everybody. Like, you just can't. So what Ohio State, so now I'm going to go on tangent.
Yeah,
what Ohio State fans fail to realize is we are now in the NIL era, and a lot of people have effing money. Does anyone see what Texas Tech is doing or who their damn booster is? I just saw him today. I just learned who he was today. He's bankrolling Texas Tech, kind of like Ruiz does for Miami. And they're now
is that why Felix Ojo got $5.1 million?
And they're about to get a 5-star for the 2027 class too. Texas Tech is about to run the Big 12. They have the financial resources and capacity to be the top dog in that conference, and they're going for it. And I just saw today who their donor was. He's actually on the board for Texas Tech, which is crazy. Wow. I don't know. I feel like that's a conflict of interest to be on the board and be a booster, but whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, like, at the end of the day, Ohio State is now competing with a bunch of big pocket people. You know, they're not going to win every recruitment. There's only so much resources to go around. And I just don't think that reality's hit them yet. They're so used to just dominating all the time. They don't realize that they had quite a competitive edge the last 20 years.
Yeah, for sure. So aside from Savion Hyder, I think there were a couple others that you had circled for like who we should be looking for.
Yeah. So the next player we'll talk about is Deuce Geralds. Deuce Geralds is the defensive tackle. He's a top 100 player. Michigan has been pushing hard. He currently does not have a commitment date. But this is a player that I have been on record saying I'd be surprised if he ends up in the class. But it does appear that Michigan is making a push here. And the reason why I'd be surprised is because really what we need is a nose tackle. We need a 0 tech. We don't need that 3 tech because we got Alistair Vallejo, man. So but apparently Michigan is pushing for Deuce Geralds to an extent. How much, we'll see. So yeah, I mean it's interesting, man. So we'll just have to monitor the Deuce Geralds recruitment. It does appear Michigan's in on it. It does appear it's possible, but I just feel Deuce Geralds will be ending up elsewhere. But it is a player we will be monitoring. Maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe Michigan has additional resources and they decide to take a swing at Deuce Geralds. And I will say this though, if they get Deuce Geralds, this defensive line class is absolutely stupid. We're going to pass elite. It's going to pass elite and enter stupid.
That'd be insane.
It'd be stupid. It'd be cheat code. It wouldn't be fair. It'd be wrong. Almost feel like cheating, but you know what? Don't care. At the end of the day, play to win, baby. And then the next player we'll talk about is Nick Abrams, who I am a big fan. Now, this is your linebacker. This is the kid. This is a kid who, if Brian Montgomery was able to pull off Nick Abrams, would be a very good addition. He is going to be making his announcement, and you know what? I had it. Let's see if I have it here. It's going to be like in the next 2 weeks. Michigan is pushing for him, but the reality is there's been some other schools. There's been some talk about potentially him going to the SEC.
July 16th.
Is it July 16th? Okay. So in literally a week and a half, he's going to be making his announcement. We'll see. Does Michigan now have the ability to make now that the resources appear to be potentially freed up, can they make a stronger play at Nick Abrams? I'll tell you this right now. I would love Nick Abrams in this class. And if they did get him, or if they were to, up the ante a little bit on this NIL and get him, excellent addition, hard hitting, physical, good instinct linebacker. And I would actually love to see that, but we'll see. I mean, I know it's a recruitment that has a few suitors, and it's something that Michigan's going to have to, I think they're going to have to up the ante if they want to get him. Next player we'll talk about is a big one. I have 2 more players. There's this one and another one, John. Devon Benjamin, cornerback 1, number 1 cornerback in the nation. The only intel I got on this, the only one I got, and I got this a week ago, Michigan is offering the most NIL here. Now, that was a week ago. It could be outdated. Oregon could have countered. I don't know. I have no idea on that. I'll see if I can get an update for you guys, but I personally don't have any more update than that. I do know Michigan is making an aggressive play here through NIL, and this kid is a game changer. This is a kid. I said, listen, we were talking about the big 3. We were talking about Carter Meadows, Savion Hyder, Calvin Russell. That was the big three. And I was like, no, we're talking big four now. Devon Benjamin is up there in the same category as the Carter Meadows and the Savion Hyders. This kid is an X factor. He has the ability to play nickel. He has the ability to play on the outside. He could play on the back end. He's versatile. I would argue he is Jabril Peppers light.
Whoa.
Jabril Peppers light. Not Jabril Peppers, but he's in that mold, that athletic prototype, I would argue. Big time player, boys. I'll tell you right now, we get Devon Benjamin, let's party. Like we're gonna have a good time. The recruitment, the live reaction video or the live commitment watch party will be insane, and then the post reaction, we'll have a good time with it. But yeah, man. I mean, it's just it's a kid that Michigan is after. They're making an aggressive play. Oregon, by all accounts, is not backing down though. So what's interesting, and I mentioned this before, or maybe I might have mentioned this in a video that didn't go public actually. What we have here is like Game of Thrones. We have the Knights and we have the Ellisons, and they're going to war right now. They're going to war over Devon Benjamin. So it's essentially a Game of Thrones recruitment. You have these two powers, with NIL ability, and it's interesting to see this recruitment go down. I will say it does appear though that Michigan has given Benjamin a lot to think about. He was considered an Oregon hard lean. Okay. But Michigan has really shifted this recruitment. Now when does he plan to commit? It appears to be at some point in August, but like I said, it's potentially possible Michigan. I've heard, I probably shouldn't throw this out there, but I've heard Michigan's going to try and move that up. We'll see on that. To be determined. So I will say that Michigan's pushing hard here. We'll see if we can get him. Big time player, would be an excellent addition to the class. Last player we'll talk about is the B-Dub special. Ben Boulware, nose tackle out of North Carolina, Oak Grove. It appears if Michigan pushes for this, they can get him. It appears. And he's a very good player. So this is that zero tech. This is the zero tech that I believe is the missing piece in this defensive line. I'm not special. Anyone who's paying attention to this recruiting class knows zero tech is the missing piece of this defensive line. He fits it. Ben Boulware is like 6. Let's look this up. 350, man. This kid is a monster. He's 6'5", 305. I'm sorry, I said 350. 6'5", 305 at 17 years old, ranked 5'11" in the nation, but nose tackles and centers do not get respect in the rankings. We know this. He's a big boy. He's a run stuffer, lane stuffer. Make sure the offensive linemen do not get to the linebackers. Make sure they do not get to the second level. I mean, so we'll see. I kind of wish Michigan would push here, but I believe the reason why they're not closing or shutting it down is because they're going the Deuce Gerald's recruitment. I think they are swinging for Deuce Gerald's. I think after the Deuce Gerald's, whether he goes with Michigan or a different school, I think then the Ben Boulware recruitment is going to become much clearer. It does appear they are kind of slow playing that one right now.
Well, Bull, I hope you get your wish. I mean, 305 Man Mountain would be a great addition to the class for sure.
Yeah, big boy.
But we like those at Michigan. So watch out for these next couple of weeks. Obviously, see where things stand. Keep it on Michigan at the Voice of College Football for all the latest, and we'll be keeping you posted. And so there's some big news. Obviously, Saturday night, we went live. We will go live when there are big things going on, and we'll get your reactions too. So with that said, I do want to just remind everybody that the owner of our network, Mark Rogers, wrote a book. Check it out on an Amazon near you. It's called Disputed National Champions, goes through the 1990s in college football and the changes that happened going into the BCS championship era after what happened in 1997. So Mark Rogers, Voice of College Football, Disputed National Champions. Okay, so after the last show we had, Michigan Wolverines Live last Tuesday, where Jeremiah Smith said, I will never lose to Michigan again. He didn't call it Michigan because they don't say the word Michigan. Because it's alongside their let's cross out every M in Columbus, including the M in Columbus.
It's a mental illness.
But now Dorian Barney, recent commit of Michigan, has said the same thing. I will not lose to Ohio State while I'm playing here. And you gotta love it. And is there any rivalry like this in sports? I mean, there are other rivalries. We know that. But this feels like, just because of the animosity, because of the, like Michigan signage that red and green are banned in the facilities. And what are you doing to beat Ohio State today? Is this the greatest rivalry in sports? And do we love it?
There is nothing on the professional level at this level. There's just not. And then if you want to look at the college level, the reality is there is no more heated, hated, storied rivalry than the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry. And that's what makes it so great. And that is why I always have my position, even though we take shots at Buckeyes. We take our shots. I respect the rivalry. I respect that program down south. I respect their will to win. That's what I respect. I think a lot of them are scumbags, but I respect passion, and I respect people who love their team. So so we have that. You have my respect there. And this rivalry, like what we need. What I was telling John before the show, we need to appreciate the other team. Here's what I mean by that. They make it greater and better. If it wasn't for Ohio State, college football would not be as epic as it is. Okay. They are the peanut butter to the jelly. Okay. Which makes the peanut butter and jelly sandwich absolutely epic. We all know this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So like the reality is, as much as we talk shit about that program down south, as much as they talk shit about us, there's no reason for this rivalry to ever get toxic or personal. Let the teams, like, we could talk shit, but we'll let the teams do the final talking on the fields, and we should absolutely appreciate and fully embrace this rivalry. Because John, which you mentioned to me before the show, you don't ever hear this from any other commit. Does any other commit say, well, I'm never losing to Michigan State again? Well, I'm never losing to Penn State again. No. It's you got the kids down south saying, I'm never losing to Michigan again. You got the kids in Ann Arbor, beautiful, wonderful Ann Arbor, saying, I'm never losing to Ohio State again. Because that's what it is, man. These kids, even before they even step a foot on campus as a student athlete, they already know it's F those guys. We're playing to win. And it's epic, man. It's epic to be a fan of a team in this rivalry. And I absolutely appreciate it because it is so rare. Think of all the teams in college football. Think of all the teams in the four majors. Nothing is like this. We are very lucky as Michigan fans and Ohio State fans to have a rivalry that is organic. It's not forced. It's not made up. It doesn't need to be hyped up for no reason. No, our fan bases just hate each other. Don't like them. They don't like us. Our coaches hate. We got Sharon Moore shooting arrows at Ryan Day, bro. Literally won the Carter Meadows recruitment and posts him shooting arrows at Ryan Day. That is the beauty of this rivalry, man. And I am so appreciative to be a fan of the team who is a part of this shit, man. So, like, at the end of the day, let's embrace it. Let's enjoy this rivalry. It is the best rivalry in all of sports. Let's never let it get too toxic or personal. Keep it football, keep it sports. And we could talk our shit all off season, all regular season. And then in November, the teams, they'll stick up for one side. And somebody's going to be right and somebody's going to be wrong. And it's going to be us, baby. Because those losers down there can't beat us. That's the facts.
Yeah, the Athletic had Auburn, Alabama as number 2. And, and Oklahoma, Texas.
Yeah, and
but
how's that going?
The vitriol is nowhere near the same level. Like and this is just the unscientific, my look at the last 4 years of being part of Voice of College Football. And the amount of chat rooms that just turn into Michigan versus Ohio State. And the topic is like, how is Auburn going to improve this year, or Penn State's, chances at winning a natty? No, it's all Michigan, Ohio State in every single chat, it feels like. And you just don't get that in any other rivalry, whether it's college football or anywhere else. I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
Bro, let me give you an example. Of what you're just talking about, right?
Yeah.
So I posted on Twitter, okay?
Yeah.
I posted on Twitter this. Got any more recruits today? Because I was fiending a little bit. I love me a nice 4-star. Love to give me one of those. And then this dude, this Buckeye John, out of effing nowhere, quote tweets me and starts talking about Connor effing Stallions and cheating. Like, that's the rivalry, bro. It has absolutely nothing to do with Ohio State. Has absolutely nothing to do with Connor Stallions. But here they are, taking advantage of a Michigan fan posting about recruiting, and this guy wants to bring up cheating Connor Stallions. That is a great example of the mental illness on the Ohio State fan base. But two, just shows this rivalry is absolutely on another level. Absolutely on another level, dude. So love it. That's what makes it so fun. And I couldn't be more happy that we are fans of a team that is in the greatest rivalry in all sports.
And I'm just going to ask everyone here, what are you doing to beat Ohio State today? Answer in the chat. I'm going to be doing my exercises after this and, getting right. And, hopefully everybody's got their own plan to beat Ohio State today. But yeah, it is a beautiful rivalry. We did get another really nice thank you to Ryan H for another one.
Thank you,
here.
Ryan.
DJ Khaled got an early morning tomorrow. Go Blue. Hey, listen, I got a plane. I get you. I got you. I get it. So
I gotta wake up at 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Listen.
Oh well, that's life.
We do this for the love of the game. We do this for the love of college football, and take time out of everything else we're doing to research and talk to people and all the things, because it's a beautiful thing that we have here. This community is, what you guys did Saturday night is absolutely insane. And I know that some of it was people coming on X, and some of it was, but like the bulk of it was people I hadn't even seen. Some of these people are coming back from last season, and they're coming. I was looking at some of the channel activity, the people are coming back to rally, and they came back for that show to say, hey, we're here. We're here with you. And it's a community that is unreal. And so my God, like, you guys rock.
Absolutely. It really is. That Saturday show was absolutely nuts. So shout out, man. Shout out to the community. Shout out to the fans. I want to say this too. I've been getting a lot of DMs of just fans who are appreciative of our show, our community. Mm-hmm. So thank you. The kind words are incredibly appreciated. They're not unnoticed. They are very, I just want to say thank you from myself. I know John feels very similar. We are very appreciative of you guys. Like, we got Ryan Hall here. We got Towns and Health Services doing major work here. Everyone Captain Stavin, Salty Rock, the B-Dub, Drufus, just everybody, and then every week. So, it's just absolutely epic. So thank you guys very much. We appreciate you. And I will say, Moose, be nice to the Penn State account. We don't get many Penn State.
We don't get a lot of them.
We don't get a lot of Penn State fans. Typically it's Ohio State fans or, the Notre Dame one here and there. It would be nice to get, I would like to get some Sparties in the chat, but I just don't think they're brave enough. And there's not a lot to be proud of if you're a Spartan fan, but end of the day, it's good to see a different, Big Ten foe in the chat.
Yeah, we've had one or two other Penn State fans, but they haven't been around in a minute. So I welcome Penn State sports talk, as long as they, and everybody keeps it respectful. As we know, we just have 3 rules here: no personal attacks, no racism, sexism, politics, and don't be a massive troll. Don't be a massive jerk. because some of those I did have to nuke recently because it was getting ridiculous. And the chat just feels so much more sane now. But here we go. So
what, did Sharice come back or something?
Yeah, Sharice. We had a couple. We had some that I just decided it's time to nuke some people, and it has been a lot nicer in the chat the last few days. So with that said, we also had where is Courtney's? This is my fiance here. She has cast a witch hex on the entire state of Ohio. Do you see why I proposed in 8 months? Because that's what
hey,
I'm
man,
Marmar
lives down there, man.
Yeah.
Fix the hex and just be Buckeye fans. Except Dorian lives down there too.
Yeah.
Except Dorian. Dorian's
yeah. I love it. All right, folks.
And Jay Marion. You can't have
Jay
Marion.
Marion. Yeah. The Michigan fans and Doreen will protect.
Excluded.
We'll protect. I'll put in a word. So coming up next, I'm going to be in a place called Chicago. I'm very excited because I've never been, and it's going to be really cool. So going to Chicago for the next couple days. While I'm gone, there's going to be another show. The show, this train keeps rolling. TJ and Johnny Olden Jr. Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, with the Michigan Wolverines call-in show live.
Yeah, I just want to say before I promote the show, there's potentially some big news with Dorian on the horizon, but I will keep it under wraps. But I just wanted to share a little breadcrumb there. Anyways, Thursday, 8 p.m. Myself, Johnny Olden Jr. Looking forward to that call-in show. You guys already know. It's the show for the people here, man. So we're gonna have a good time Thursday. Call in. We get people who do call in for the first time. Love it. If you're a first-time caller, let's go. Don't be afraid to call in. Love to talk football with you. Let's talk recruiting, football. Guys, if you think about it, we're only a month and a half away from Michigan football. We are not far away. We are getting there. I'm excited, man. So we're gonna get there. Looking forward to it, and sure we'll have another great show, John.
Absolutely. And don't forget, obviously, to follow us on X, TJ_Ronin at John Diadamo. The X accounts have been blowing up. And I got to say, I mean, we had Saturday night, 33,000 views come in from X. So it's a place people are trying to get football information. So follow us, and we'll obviously share what we know, what we are able to share, obviously. When we can, and also just some other whatever's on our mind that day. So check it out. Check out our X accounts. And the last thing we're gonna just let everybody know is about the Amazon link, and Mark Rogers, voice of college football, is gonna let us know about the Amazon link. Any final thoughts for you, TJ?
Only final thoughts is it's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. Shout out to the community again. And let's have a good night, boys. And hopefully everyone has a great day tomorrow. And until Thursday, it's always go blue, man.
Go blue, and we'll see you next time.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link, and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.